What a nice man you are, Ron. I've always said that, and I've come to believe it more and more lately. You look wonderful. You seem extremely enthused, and I'm ready for a great show.
I am too, Joe. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you think I'm a nice man. Not everybody does. We all have our detractors. But I'm doing well today. How
Jerry
about
DePaula doesn't have any detractors, does he?
He might have a few. I don't know. Maybe Narduzzi might be one of them.
Actually, you're right. You picked out the one.
I picked out the one, maybe. How are you today?
I'm good.
Is that a new little sweater?
Fairly. He's made about 3 or 4 starts. I'm giving him another one today. See how it goes. So far, so good. I got a new pair of pants on.
I'm still upset about you haven't gone back to the flannel.
I know. Well, he had his second try, and he got shelled, and he got sent back to the minors.
You can't give up on him.
He's in the minors.
He's got a bright future.
He's up in. He might. He's
got a bright future in your closet.
He's got to get his fastball back. I really do treat my outfits as if they're members of a sports team, Ron. If they have a good day, they're going to get another start, and they're going to get it quick. If they don't, they might get benched. They might go to the minors, and they might get cut.
Yeah, but see, you brought the flannel back too quickly. That was your problem.
That was a mistake.
That
yes,
was
it
a mistake, and so you can't hold that against the shirt. That was your poor judgment.
Good point, but I think the shirt got injured. I think he's on the injured list. That one's not coming back. You know what? It made me look fat, too. Not that I need a lot to make me look fat, but it did.
I thought it made you look elegant.
For one day, it did.
We do got a good show today. A lot going on here. You saw Brian Flores was on TV last night, huh?
Why don't we start with that, Ron? I've already consumed an entire, practically a keg of toasted coconut coffee today. So I'm in the mood to talk.
What was the one you had last week?
I don't remember. What was it?
Pistachio?
Pistachio nut, yes.
Now,
that was a latte.
This is what?
Toasted coconut.
I don't like coconut. Can you taste the coconut?
Yeah, that's the idea. They don't call it toasted coconut for nothing.
I'm not a coconut person.
Horace, we'd be remiss not to check on your state of mind, your emotional well-being. How are you?
I'm here.
Any word on Aaron Rodgers to Denver? Happening? Not happening? What are they saying in Denver?
Status quo.
Status quo. He actually came out, Ron, and sort of made some sense by saying this was all sentimental and that weird photo of
him being absent
between Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb, that was an actual photo. It wasn't photoshopped. I think that actually happened. Like he wasn't there for a game. He was out with COVID. And as a tribute to him, those two left a space between them.
I thought it was like he was scratched out of the picture, photo.
So did I.
So
did a lot of people.
They were tribute to him missing the game because of COVID.
Right. That's the way I understood it.
Okay,
that's the way it's been interpreted. He had nothing to say to Pat McAfee. It is different.
That's a little different because it sure made it seem like, well, those two are staying and I'm not.
I'm starting to believe you that he's going to stay in Green Bay.
I truly believe that.
I can't believe that we now, in order to form our opinions in sports these days, have to, micro-analyze social media posts. But that's the way of it, right?
That's the way of these guys live on social media, some better than others. Did you see the latest report? I don't know, was it Pro Football Focus that Juju's going to New England?
I did.
I don't know. Do they know anything Pro Football Focus where their guys are going to sign?
No, it was just a projection of where he might fit. Also, Aaron Rodgers.
I only thought of that because Juju lives on social media.
Yeah. Well, most of them do to one form or another. Most of us do, I should say, Ron. You've put out a good tweet or two, right?
Not very often. Not very
No?
often. I don't like it. I don't like it's always so mean-spirited and brutal to me.
It is. It is.
That's why I very, very seldom look at my notifications unless I'm looking for something.
Well, that's the world
particular.
these days.
I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be. I always say, bring it on, baby. Take your shots at me, left, right, all you want, because I'm not going to say them.
Mean-spirited and brutal. We can't even get through handshake lines in this world anymore. Ron, he also thanked Shailene, is that her name? Shailene Woodley, his either fiance or former fiance. Now there's some question as to whether or not they're still together. I thought they were broken up. They might get married. Are you concerned about that? Are you a fan of hers?
I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of her.
I thought she was very believable in Big Little Lies on Netflix.
I never saw that show.
Great show. I love her. Not that I'm going to marry her, but I don't think he is either. And
I don't
I'm
really
perplexed
care
by
about
everything he put out.
I don't care much about his personal life. I wish him well. If they break up, I wish them both well. I could care less if he marries her or not.
Well, there was an ugly breakup, Ron, and that was Brian Flores and Stephen Ross. Did you happen to catch the HBO interview?
I did not see it, but I've read the highlights. And it taught me something, though.
Yeah? What?
About this, they wanted him to sign we won't rip each other on your way out. I guess that must be standard, right? If you're going to be paid, because we talked about Ed Ogeron and Matt Canada had that sort of deal. And I'm thinking, man, that seems unusual, right? But maybe it isn't. Maybe you're supposed to sign those when you're fired to get your money. You can't rip the boss.
Well,
that was my understanding.
The way I read Florio's piece, and he's a lawyer too, is that part of that is standard and part of it wasn't, that they posted these documents. There's a non-disclosure and there's a non-disparagement clause. So, excuse me. The way that he finished that was Flores ultimately chose the ability to sue and to speak over the standard buyout that coaches who have time left on their contracts receive. It might very well be standard, what they asked him to do, but it's not standard for the coach to say, I ain't signing it. You can keep the money.
He wants his money, right?
Right.
Now, do they not pay him anything?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Whatever the case, he retained his ability to sue, which is exactly what he did. And as Florio finishes up here, whatever label the team tries to apply to Flores' decision, the fact remains that his buyout was contingent on not pursuing litigation and otherwise not speaking his mind about what he believes happened. So then the question becomes, what about basically throwing games? What about this idea that Ross offered $100,000 to lose games per game? And Ron, I got to tell you, Flores and his lawyers, especially the lawyers, something there, we're reaching the point where we got to see some proof of some of this stuff. One thing Gumbel asked was, you said that other coaches were going to join you in this pursuit. Where are they? And the one lawyer jumped in and he said, check back in a couple weeks. And Gumbel went back to that and said, are other people joining this suit or not?
Because it was class action.
Yes. And a huge part of that was I won't be the only one.
Right.
And they're somehow, the two lawyers were not believable in that. And then there's the issue of documentation or proof that Ross offered that $100,000 to lose each game. And Gumbel was good on that. Where is it? Do you have it?
Yeah,
we have it.
Something written down? Is it?
Yeah, we're going to provide it. Okay.
Is there a smoking gun there?
I'm just wondering if this is a little bit flimsy here. The fact that they produced a document that Flores didn't sign, okay. He
right.
didn't. We know he didn't sign it. What does that prove about anything?
That doesn't prove anything. It just proves he wanted to retain his right to sue here. That's all it says to me. And he was willing to give up whatever money he gave up to be able to retain that right.
So they still believe that there's a chance that this can be settled. Flores said he wants to see meaningful change. I don't know what constitutes meaningful change to him, but they also said they're prepared to litigate, that if this goes to trial, they're prepared. And that would, of course, include the discovery phase, which I would bet in some people's minds began yesterday with the disclosure of that document. But I didn't see that as meaning anything. But it showed that, hey, if we need to come forth with some stuff, we'll show you. And we're reaching that point. And it could get ugly for the league and for Stephen Ross more than Flores. Would you agree with that?
I would agree for that. Absolutely. Flores seemingly did everything right here, but, he turned down the money to tank games, said, I'm not going to do it. So if this all comes out, it makes Ross look bad in the league. And then what does the league do with Ross?
That's the question.
A powerful billionaire.
That's the question. And this all will play out with Brian Flores working for the Steelers, one of the league's flagship enterprises here. which
And
makes it
Starship Enterprise.
which makes it more interesting to me is that I don't think any other team would have taken on Brian Flores right now. Maybe after this all blows over, if it blows over.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
not right now.
I don't think he would be blackballed forever like Colin Kaepernick. I don't think that. But I don't know that anybody else would have hired him right now other than Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. I agree with that.
He indicated that he called Tomlin basically for advice, like, hey, where do you think my next job could be, should be, would be? How should I go about this? And it turned out, well, what about here?
Yeah.
Can we hear that, Horse? Do you have that clip? Let's take a listen, Ron. Whatever one you have back there, the one we talked about, Steelers hire.
Do you think Coach Tomlin threw you a lifeline?
I feel like I'm very capable coach in this league, but I do feel like he saw a situation where there was a very experienced coach who could help his staff, who's also a black coach in the league, and I think that kind of speaks to what we're talking about.
Some members of the Boston media were beating the drum for you to go back to the Patriots. Was that ever in play?
No, I didn't talk to anyone from New England.
Since that now infamous text exchange with Bill Belichick, have you spoken with him?
I have not.
Have you tried to?
No, I haven't.
Do you expect to?
I mean, there's potential, or we could run into each other. I mean, I'd be open to a conversation, but if that we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
What do you read into that? Anything? I'm not
About
seeing
the Belichick New England stuff.
I don't see where Belichick did anything wrong necessarily. Do you?
Other than send the guy the wrong email, right, or pick the wrong guy. No.
But nothing malicious toward
No,
Flores.
it's not.
In fact, it was a congratulatory text.
It's not that Flores didn't get the job because of Belichick's note.
But Belichick's note could be what's
proof
the closest they get to a smoking gun.
To a sham interview with the Giants that followed.
I'm just not sure it will qualify as a smoking gun.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, no, I don't think Belichick did anything wrong here other than maybe stick his nose in where it didn't really belong in somebody else's business. But he was congratulating what he thought one of his staff members, and it was not the right one.
Leave it to Belichick to go to the wrong place, right, on his contacts? I thought it was Dable.
Maybe he's not as much of a social media whiz as maybe he is as much as I am. No, anybody's better than me.
I think all these guys are connected, Ron, the same way we are in our business. We're always talking about who's getting the next job, what'd you hear, what'd you hear.
Right, absolutely.
And then if we hear something, hey, Ron, congrats on your new ESPN gig or something.
Or
I just heard.
Or I'll say, Joe, did you hear Joe Blow is going to get this job? We talk, we gossip like everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I assume the coaches do too.
Yeah, I just didn't see where Belichick
did anything.
Why there would be any beef between those two. That seemed like a weird line of questioning. But there's no doubt, and you just heard Flores say it, that part of this hire, I think he even believes part of this hire was a statement by the Steelers. It was mostly about we're getting a good coach, but the part of him being a black coach was part of it.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt.
Absolutely. And again, I wrote about this Sunday when I talked to Tomlin a year ago, said I'm very sensitive to this issue. And I think he saw first and foremost, a good coach. A guy that, as Kevin Colbert said the other day, a Super Bowl champion coordinator with New England, 11 years with Belichick. But he also saw here's a black coach that may have trouble getting another job. I'm going to do what I can. Gumbel used the word lifeline. I think that's exactly what it was. Right now, I mean, I truly believe that Flores would have gotten a job down the road after this all clears. But not right now, and I think Tomlin, that was a big part of it. I truly believe that.
I mean, it's not like this isn't an incendiary lawsuit. He said the NFL does its business like a plantation, and it could get uglier and more incendiary from here. So I give Tomlin number one credit, but ultimately this is Art Rooney's call.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the one who's in it with his fellow owners.
He could have said, you know what, Mike, I hear you, but we're going to pass on this.
Yes.
Obviously, he didn't do that.
No, he didn't. And I think this is the only franchise in the league that would have made this hire right now. And I sense that Brian Flores believes that too.
Well, when he first filed the lawsuit, he said, I realize I may never coach again, but I'm going to you know, this is so important to me that I'm going to follow this through. And if I don't coach again, I don't coach again.
Up